Okay, so today we are going to talk about something that annoys me, and you guys seem to love my emotional videos, so it's another one. And I'm just going to put a warning out there for anyone who gets triggered by emotional videos. This is going to be one of them. Why do different audibles as in Audible, where you can read audiobooks, why do different audibles in different countries block certain books? Are you ready? Because this is something that's been frustrating me for quite some time. So let's jump right in. Okay, so when I first started reading books for my BookTube channel, which was in January of 2020, I was purely physically reading books. And then I think by the time I got to March of 2020, I started listened to my first audiobook, which incidentally was by my favourite author and one of my favourite books, Mistborn: The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I listened to that on graphic audio. The next book that I read after The Final Empire, I don't remember what it was, but I listened to the audiobook version on Audible. And today we are going to talk about how, if you're a fan of a book, if you want to read a book that comes from another country, how potentially Audible might say, sorry, this book is not available. So we're going to start off talking about this book, Pretty Little Liars by Sarah Shepard. Now, for those of you who don't know, long story cut very short, Pretty Little Liars is a book series written by Sarah Shepard revolving around girls who are being stalked by an antagonist known as A, and among other things, they're trying to work out who A is. The book series became incredibly successful and was adapted into a TV series. I saw the TV series before I read the original works, the books, and I've seen the TV series every episode at least twice. Some of them I've seen probably about 4 times, some episodes, so I'm very well aware of the show, and yeah, I can practically quote the show. So I decided that I wanted to read the books, but to be more specific, I actually wanted to listen to the audiobooks of Pretty Little Liars. Unfortunately, I live in Australia. Pretty Little Liars is an American book, a book written by an American author, Sarah Shepard. Now, it's not just Pretty Little Liars, I'm just using this as an example at the moment. I'm sure you get where I'm coming from. So I went to Audible, which by the time I wanted to read Pretty Little Liars, I'd been a member of Audible for quite some time and really had been enjoying myself with Audible. And I looked up Pretty Little Liars, and wouldn't you know it, they had Pretty Little Liars, and I was so excited. So I clicked on Pretty Little Liars, book number 1, and do you know what it said? Do you know what it said? It said, not available in your country. I was not happy about this, because I really, really wanted to listen to this book. So, I did some further research. I went into Google, searched around, looked at other audio platforms like Scribd and other ones like that. And again, with Scribd, the exact same thing happened. Scribd have Pretty Little Liars, and I was able to finally listen to it. Yay! So I clicked on it and it said, not available in your country. Are you serious? It's a book. Now, I understand with TV shows that there are certain situations where with certain TV shows owing to contracting and whatever, that certain TV shows can't be available in other countries. That's fine. But it's a book. And if anything, wouldn't the author want this book, regardless of what format it's in, physical, ebook, or audiobook, wouldn't the author want it available in as many countries as possible so that everyone can experience their work? I mean, really, wouldn't they want that? Apparently not. I will go a step further because this grated on me for the longest time. Pretty Little Liars, the fact that I could not listen to it as an audiobook on Audible really grated me for a while because I really wanted to read the original works of a show that I loved so much, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And then anytime I would find it, like I said, it was more of a tease. It would be there, and then it would say, not available in your country. So eventually, I actually reached out to the author, Sarah Shepard, and I wrote her a lovely email, detailing that I'd seen the show, I loved it, I really wanted to read her work, I wanted to listen to the audio version, but it's not available in my country. Is there a way I could get access to it? Yada, yada, yada. I have still not heard any word from Sarah Shepard. I've heard nothing. I got an automated response from her that she had some kind of tour thing she was doing, and the automated message said something along the lines of, I'm doing this tour, but once the tour is over, I will respond to you. I'm still waiting. I am still waiting for a response from Sarah Shepherd. Now, I will say that I got incredibly lucky because I was so determined to find this audiobook. And do you want to know the really funny part about it, guys? I actually didn't really like the audiobook. I didn't like the book in the end, but I was so fixated on and determined to listen to this book that I finally came across another audio platform called Audiobooks Now. And Audiobooks Now did have a copy of it, and they have all of the Pretty Little Liars books over there. But yeah, it turned out I didn't like this book, but that was not my point. My point was I wanted access to it, and I didn't get why I couldn't get access to it. So now I'm going to talk to you about the reason why I'm bringing this video up today. So I'm going to have to take you back in time to I think it was last year, but it might have been this year. I don't know, you guys. Time is very fluid with me. But anyway, I did a video, and I'll put an image of it up there so you can see what it looks like in case you want to go check it out yourself. I did a video called My Most Anticipated Books for the first quarter of 2021. And among that list was this book, Game Changer by Neil Shusterman. From what I could tell from the premise, it follows a sportsman. I don't remember what sport that he plays, but it follows a sportsman who ends up having an injury. And because of said injury, he ends up visiting multiple dimensions. I mean, how amazing does this sound? I put up the video saying I was really excited about it. And then I ended up going to Audible just to see if Audible had the book. And good news, you guys, Audible Australia. Again, Neil Shusterman is not an Australian author, so I'm sure you figured that out, but I'm just putting it in here. Audible Australia said that the book was coming and that you could pre-order it. It was there, you just had to click the button and pre-order it. Now, I'm not someone who pre-orders, or I very rarely or very seldom pre-order. I pre-ordered one book, The Fires of Vengeance, and I don't think I'm even going to read it. But anyway, because I pre-ordered that book before I'd read book one, and that was book two in a series, and I didn't really love book one enough. Audible Australia said Game Changer by Neil Shusterman was available for pre-order and you could purchase it. Fine. I didn't want to pre-order the audio version, but I wanted to then go ahead and purchase the physical version. There are many reasons why I want to have a physical book, even if I'm listening to the audio book. One of the biggest reasons for me is because I like to keep track of where I'm at in the book. So every time I get to a new chapter, I put a bookmark in up to that chapter. So I have a visual representation of where I'm at in the book. And then you can see in my April TBR that I plan to read this book this month. And by read, I meant, for me, I wanted to listen to the audio version. So I got very excited. I put it on my TBR. And then last night, I finished the book that I was reading prior to Game Changers. Game Changer. I keep calling it Game Changers, but it's Game Changer. Prior to Game Changer. So I finished that book and I picked up Game Changer. I was so excited. I went on to Audible because what I like to do is when you purchase the audiobook on Audible, for those of you who don't know, you purchase the audiobook and then you download it to whatever device you're listening to it on. For me, it's my phone. So what I like to do is the day before, I'll purchase the book and download it so it's ready to go for the next day. And so last night I was like, yay, I'm finally reading Game Changer. You guys, there are times where I get really excited about books and there are times where it's like, oh, I'll read this and see how I go. But with Game Changer, I was really excited. So I'm like, yay, finally I'm up to Game Changer. Let's go on to Audible. Let's find it and let's download it and have it ready for me to start reading today. And it wasn't there. And I was really confused, thinking, hang on, because I'd gone to the search bar, so I was thinking, am I writing this wrong? Because it was there. It said you could pre-order it, so where is it? So I tried to keep looking for it on my phone, in the app, and I still couldn't find it. Then I went onto Google on my PC, and I typed in Game Changer, Neil Shusterman, audiobook, and guess what came up, you guys? That's right, the very first link was audible.com.au. Wonderful. I can still purchase it on my PC and then download it in the app on my phone. That's fine, I have no problem with that. So I clicked on the link, and what did it say? That's right, it said, not available in your country. Are you kidding me? The issue I have with this is twofold. It's not just the fact that it's not available in my country, which is incredibly annoying, but my second issue with this is, what would have happened if I'd pre-ordered it? Would they have just given me a refund and said, oh, we're so sorry, we just didn't get the contracting rights for it, but we didn't know that at the time, so we thought we'd charge you for it anyway? What the heck? Where is this book? So I ended up doing more research, just like I did with Pretty Little Liars. I went to Audiobooks now because I am officially a member with them. I thought I'll go check them out first. They don't have it. I went to Scribd. I'm not an official member with Scribd, but if Scribd had this, I would have signed up for it. Scribd have it. But like with Pretty Little Liars, Scribd says not available in your country. What the heck? Now, I want to discuss why this is such an issue with me, because it may to you sound rather petty. Hey, Mr. Francy, you're a reader. You read 125 books last year. You can read. So why not just read the physical book? And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It would cost a lot less for me to just read the physical book. In fact, it would cost a lot less for me to read the ebook. But I have an issue with my eyes. My eyes are very sensitive to light, and so therefore I can't read an ebook. But why not just read the physical book? You're absolutely right. But here is my issue. Number one, I wanted to listen to the audiobook, so there's clearly disappointment there. But number two, not only am I aware that this is an issue, but I am also aware of certain people who have this issue. There are people out there who struggle to read physical books for so many reasons. Whether it is a learning disability or some other type of disability they've never read before, whatever it is. And it could be that they're just too young to be able to read a book. There are many reasons why there are people out there who can't physically read books. And I know of certain people who are in this situation that are rather close to me. So I had a situation recently, I'm not going to say names or anything like that at all, but I had a situation last year where someone that I knew needed to read a book, and when I say needed to, they needed to read it as a requirement for something. But they struggled to read it. So my thought was, why don't I see if I can track down the audiobook for them and they can listen to that and they're still getting the experience. Unfortunately, I could not find the audiobook for that book either. And you know what's really, really, really wrong about that one? That particular book that is in question, I'm going to put a picture of it up here, is called When Michael Met Mina. When Michael Met Mina is written by an Australian author. So why is it not on Audible Australia? Someone help me out with that. In my opinion, I would love to see everyone read. Whether you read, like I did last year, 125 books for the year, or whether you read one book throughout a year and every day you read a page, or, I don't know, every week you take a day or two to just read a couple of pages. Great! Reading is such a good thing and it's so beneficial for so many reasons. But unfortunately, for those people who cannot, for whatever reason, read, or they struggle to read for whatever reason, a physical book, audiobooks are such an amazing thing for them because they can listen to the book, or if they want to improve their reading skills or try to improve them, they can listen to the audiobook while reading along in the physical book. It really does help. There are proven tests scientifically that show that listening to the audiobook while reading it helps certain people, and I can absolutely 100% with conviction say that this has been proven for those who have dyslexia. Because there are many booktubers out there who have spoken about this, how that because of the fact they have dyslexia, and it's not just dyslexics who can't read books, but because of the fact that they have dyslexia, they find it tough to read books because of how their mind works with the dyslexia and how all the words are kind of shuffled, or with some dyslexics, some words are just completely blanked from them. So even though it's on the page, they can't see it or whatever. When they listen to the audiobook while reading the physical book at the same time, it assists them with their reading and it helps them. And there are some booktubers out there that I follow who have dyslexia who are currently doing both. They will listen to an audiobook while reading along with the physical, and they also can now physically read because listening to the audiobook at the same time as physically reading actually assisted them to get to the point where they could read a physical book, which I mean is just amazing, right? Oh my goodness. So, let me get back to my point now that you know all that. So with the situation of anyone who's in a situation who can't read a physical book, why in the world would you not have the audiobook available for them? It makes no sense to me on any level whatsoever, especially when you consider the fact that that every time I'm looking up these audiobooks, the physical book is available for me to purchase. Whether it is available for me to purchase it from a store in Australia or whether it's available for me to purchase from a store somewhere else, it's available for me to get here, and there are no restrictions on me getting the physical book. So why are there restrictions on me getting the audiobook? And for those people who can't physically read, why should they be blocked from, and I said I would get emotional and here we go, why should they be blocked from experiencing your book? It makes no sense to me, especially when you consider the fact that if they go to an audiobook platform like Audible, they have to actually physically pay for the audiobook. So the author is still making money. So if you want to look at it from a business perspective, the author still gets paid. The author gets paid more if the audiobook is available everywhere. So it just makes no sense to me. Now, maybe there's someone out there who's just so happens to be watching my video right now who is up to date with contract law when it comes to audiobooks. If you're one of those people, please comment below in very specific detail as to what it is that I'm missing. Because you guys, now I want to talk to you about the fact that I've spoken to Audible about this. I've actually called them because one of the great things with Audible is you can call them 24 hours a day. So I called Audible and I've had multiple conversations with them, and the conversation always starts out the same with them saying to me, oh yeah, that book is not available in your country. And I would say to them, okay, that's fine, but can you explain to me why it's not available in my country? Because I don't quite understand why it's not available in my country. And the only response I'm sorry you guys, and I don't mean to badmouth Audible, but the only response that I seem to get, and I have discussed this with many different Audible representatives, is the same line, which is, oh, it just, it's to do with the contract, and so therefore it just wasn't available. And that's it. If I ask them to elaborate, they just say the same thing. Oh, it's to do with the contract, and that just means it's not available. Well, I'm sorry, that's not good enough for me. Why is this audiobook or these audiobooks not available? What is it about the contract? What is the reason? Am I meant to be talking to? Am I meant to be talking to Audible in the case of an American book? Because most of the time, I'm sorry to say, but most of the time it is American books that this happens with, and most of the time, because I've looked on audible.com, the American Audible has these books whether it's an American author or not. It is Audible Australia that is suffering. So you can look for pretty much any book that people are talking about these days on audible.com, and pretty much most of them, if not all of them, are going to be there. And if you go to audible.com, Neil Shusterman is there on audible.com. He's just not on audible.com.au. So, I mean, how does this work? Is it the publisher? Now, the publisher for Game Changer is really, really interesting because it's Tor Publishing. And Tor Publishing are the same publishers who do my Sanderson Cosmere books. This edition of Mistborn the Final Empire is Tor Publishing. And all of the Sanderson books I can listen to on audiobook. And the reason I know this is because I've done it. Now, granted, as I did say at the start of this video, every single Brandon Sanderson Cosmere book that I've read to date, I've listened to on a different platform. I've listened to it on graphic audio. And the reason for this is because this one, The Alloy of Law, so I lie, I apologize. The Alloy of Law I listened to on Audible because I found graphic audio to be expensive at the time. It's changed now. Graphic audio is amazing, and if I can get everyone over to graphic audio and not Audible, I'm going to do that. Graphic audio always have these amazing deals. They're not affiliated, they're not sponsored here, but I just think it's so incredible. They have like 40, 50, 60% off their audiobooks all the time with codes, words. I've never come across a moment with graphic audio where they haven't had a deal of at least 40% off, if not 50 or 60% off. So it's incredible. Check out graphic audio. You're going to get a really, really, really good deal with them. But anyway, they're not sponsored, but in the face of what Audible's doing, I want to make that point. But Brandon Sanderson's books, at least the colourful editions you're seeing here, so not the white ones are UK publishers, but the colourful editions here are all done by a publishing company in the United States of America known as Tor, T-O-R. Game Changer is also published by Tor. All of these Cosmic Universe books that are published by Tor are available on audible.com.au. So explain to me why Game Changer is not there. Now also, before you jump right in and say, all right, Mr. Francy, I can explain this to you now, just wait. Explain to me why Game Changer was available to be pre-purchased from audible.com.au and is now no longer available. I have a big issue with that, because if you want to talk contracts with me, contract law, if you are putting up a book that's available for pre-purchase and I've purchased it, then in a way, our contract that we have, mine and Audible Australia's, is I've purchased a copy of the audiobook. So if you take that away from me, then you, the seller, are breaking that contract. So explain to me how it's not available when it was available for pre-order. Now also explain to me how on Google, when you search Game Changers audiobook in Australia, when you search it in this country, the first link that comes up is Audible Australia, and then when you click on the link it says not available in this country. Explain that to me. None of this makes sense. Who am I meant to go after? Am I meant to go after Tor Publishing? Am I meant to go after Neil Shusterman? Which would be really interesting if I went after Neil Shusterman and said, excuse me, Mr. Shusterman, can you explain to me why your audiobook is not available in my country? Because I feel like at least a part of him would be thinking, why is it not available in Australia? That doesn't make sense, because I would make a lot more money and a lot more people would be consuming my book. So I don't think it's Neil Shusterman that I'm meant to be going after, despite the fact that I went after Sarah Shepherd. But I went after Sarah Shepherd for a specific reason, and still she never got back to me. But anyway, we'll let that go. So I don't understand what it is I'm meant to be doing here, and I'm not just doing this video for me. I'm doing this video on behalf of those who can't physically read books or who struggle to physically read books. Why are they at such a disadvantage in this country? Now, I would love to talk about other versions of Audible. I don't know how many Audible versions there are. I know that there is not only Audible Australia and Audible USA, but there's also Audible UK. I know that much. I don't know what the other countries are that have Audible, but if any other country, if there is another country that I haven't mentioned that you live in, that you have the same situation of this with Audible, please let me know in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about this, because this is getting a bit ridiculous. Now, I do need to make a bit of a point. But going back to the conversation that I had with Audible, one of those times where I asked them to explain to me, and their only explanation was, it's a contracting thing, and they wouldn't elaborate on that. One time I had a representative who said to me, we actually can send a form out to you that you fill in for a suggestion, for a recommendation for a book that we can make, an audiobook we can make available in Audible Australia. I said, that sounds amazing. Send it to me. I'll fill it out. That's great. If that means that you guys actually actively sit down and look at this recommendation and potentially do what you can to make this book available, especially with Pretty Little Liars, because that's the book I was after at that time, then let's do it. So they sent me the form. I filled out the form. I gave it back to them over 6 months ago. I still haven't heard anything. So I don't know if they just rejected it and didn't respond to me, or if they still haven't looked at it, or whatever, but it's kind of ridiculous that nothing came of it. So this is kind of where I'm at the moment. I don't know what to do, and that's why I'm making a point of it in this video. I'm kind of at a loss over where to go from here. I'm also at a loss when it comes to looking at people outside of myself who can't read or who struggle to read, because for me it is literally a choice. I have the option to read the physical book or to listen to the audiobook. I can do either. I can't read an ebook, but I can read the physical, I can listen to the audio, I get to choose. So for me, it's a little disheartening. But for others who don't have that choice and the only way they can consume a book is to listen to the audiobook, this is downright unfair. I'm calling a spade a spade. It is not fair, and it makes no sense to me whatsoever, whether you're looking at it from the if I want to say publisher, I guess the recording company's perspective, because yes, they would need to go into a deal with the publisher. So in this case, with Game Changers, Audible would need to have a contractual agreement with Tor Publishing, who would have a contractual agreement with Neil Shusterman to get all this done. And I don't know if that contract includes the countries that it will be available in. But regardless of all that, why is it not available in every country? It's an audio book. It would only serve to a positive, to a pro, to the publishing company, to the recording company, to the author, to have these audiobooks available everywhere, because let's face it, at the end of the day, every business, their number one goal is to make money. And the more items that they have readily available for everyone around the world to purchase, the more money they're going to make anyway. Then let's look at it from the emotional perspective. These readers who can't read without an audiobook don't have this option because it's not available in your country with no reasonable explanation. How is that fair? I mean, if there is someone out there who cannot read a physical book, who looked up Game Changer and thought, this sounds great, I want to read this book, my first thought is, yay, you want to read, let's go. Like, I would do everything in my power to get them this audiobook because they want to read. They want to experience this, but they can't. They're being told no. No, you can't, because you don't live in a country where this is available. Come on. Come on. This is not fair. Why is this the case? Someone explain this to me in a way that makes sense. All right, rant over. That's where I'm going to leave it. I hope that this wasn't too emotional for you guys, but if there's anything that you'd like to add to this video here, anything that I brought up today, please feel free to leave a comment in the space below. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, I've said multiple times throughout the video, I'd love someone to explain it to me. So if you know better than me, I wouldn't be surprised. Just let me know what the deal is, because to just have a throwaway line, oh, it's just contractually not available, does not make any sense to me at all, for all the reasons I've outlined. But, putting a smile back on my face, that is where I am going to leave it. So, comment below and let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a good old thumbs up. I would really appreciate the love. But in the meantime, letting you guys go with peace, blessings, and so much love. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll see you again soon. Mwah! Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading!